Order!
We're here in Dunsfold because some people have written to us concerned about plans to build a new housing estate over this lovely park. They want us to see if we can find some very important archaeology to stop the park from being developed. So we're going to look for lost palaces, Roman villas or anything else unusual. And as always, we've got just 3 days. Dunsfold Park was built as a Second World War airfield. It's still used for flying today, but is mostly famous for being the home of the Wot Gear test track and studio. And now it's threatened by developers.
Remember, keep it jovial and lightweight. We don't want people getting bored. And action!
The geophys team are already surveying the site, so what's the plan?
Well, there's a lovely little church with a holy well and a smashing old pub in the village.
It is a really good pub.
Oh, excellent. And they've got a dartboard.
Not that I'm suggesting we start there, you understand. We'll have a look later. There's no sign of anything much older than medieval.
Well, where are we going to dig then?
I'm just coming to that. There's a stream over there and a river over there. Now, if I was looking to set up something up here, that's where I'd do it. So I'd put the first trench in here.
So what are we looking for?
Oh, I don't know, a medieval monastery perhaps?
If that's the case, why isn't Mick here? He loves that sort of thing.
Oh, we did ask him, but he weren't very happy about it.
No, you're helping out a bunch of petrol heads who don't give a toss about the state of the environment. No one consulted me on the idea, and you know damn well I don't hold with that sort of thing. So I don't care what you might or might not find there. I'm not doing it. You're on your own. I'm handing in my stripes. I'm cross.
So, I'm afraid you're stuck with me.
Oh. Well, I suppose we'd better get on with it then. So, Trench 1 is going in right over here, where Francis thinks there might be a medieval monastery. As usual, we have all the latest geophysing technology to hand, combined with the instincts of Phil and Francis, who seem to be having trouble agreeing with each other at the moment. Finally, Francis pulls rank and the digger moves in. John seems to have come over to help.
I can't see much there, can you?
Haven't you anything better to do than stand around getting my back up?
No, I have minions now. I don't need to work.
Well, some of us help our minions. Oh, I'm not your minion. See what I mean?
If anyone round here could have minions, it's me, but I have to do all my own work.
Well, we tried giving you a minion. It didn't exactly work out well, did it?
Maybe if you waited for some results, you'd be getting somewhere.
If we waited for results, we'd never have time to dig. Now, go out and get us some.
Yeah, go away. Let's get on with it. And you, get out of my trench. You should know better by now.
Just you wait. When we get the results, you'll see just where the anomalies are.
Anomaly.
Huh? What's that?
He's been so annoying today. I know he's got a big job on his hands, but haven't we all?
No, you're not wrong there.
I wish we could get back at him somehow. That equipment's all he cares about.
Well, we can't sabotage it, though. We need the results.
I have a cunning plan.
You are?
What if we make a cardboard cutout of this gear and run it over?
You're evil.
He'd be beside himself.
You're evil. I love you.
Meanwhile, Stuart and Helen are taking a good look at the landscape.
Okay, we're here. There's the village.
Where's the church?
Oh, now that's on another map.
Why is it that whenever you want to look at something, it's always on the join?
Yeah, it's right up here.
I wonder why it's so far from the village.
There could be all sorts of reasons.
Maybe there's a clue on the older maps.
Well, these look like burbage plots all round the common, so it's probably been like that for a long time.
And here's that river round the edge of the park.
That looks a bit too tidy to me.
Back in the trench,
I think I'm just starting to get somewhere here. It's feeling a little different over here.
Oh, all right, you might be onto something there. But it's about lunchtime now. Why don't you clear up your loose and we'll have a look later?
So it is. Look, Tony's giving us a thumbs up. That must be the cardboard geofence behind the digger.
John's over there. Is he watching?
Yeah, give Ian a wave to back up.
Stop! Do you have any idea how much this stuff costs? There's tens of thousands of pounds worth of gear. I don't see what's so funny.
It's only a model. At your face.
hey, I've got the cardboard cutout. Where'd you...
Oh.
All my equipment ruined, you bastards!
I don't know nothing about this.
Nor me.
Ah, Francis, you're in charge here, aren't you?
Oh, yes, I suppose I am. Come here, John. Let's get you a nice hot cup of tea.
I like a nice cup of tea in the morning, for to start the day, you see. And at 11:30, well, my idea of heaven is a nice cup of tea. I like a nice cup of tea with me dinner, and a nice cup of tea with me tea. And when it's time for bed, there's a lot to be said for a nice cup of tea.
While we wait for some replacement geofizz gear to arrive, we're having to resort to something a bit more basic.
Ground's a bit too wet for hitting it with a mattock. It all just sounds universally squelchy. I've never tried this before, but we don't have many options left. You know, there might just be something in this after all. Just here, there must be something there.
There you are, see? No need for that expensive equipment after all. Get the digger in here and we'll open up trench 2.
This really is a mystery. We weren't expecting to find anything in this part of the park.
Right, let's see what's happening here. Oh, there's something solid here.
Yeah, this anomaly goes all the way back here.
Anomaly.
Can you hear that?
What?
Oh, nothing. Must be hearing things. Right, let's take it down a bit more and see if it changes.
Meanwhile, in the incident room...
And don't stay focused on any papers for more than a second. No one's really interested in them.
Here's the park on the modern map, and here's what the area looked like 100 years ago.
So, not much has changed apart from the park.
How can you tell where the park is? What? Will be.
Well, you look for patterns in the landscape that are the same on both maps.
Like this field here. The one that looks just like a pig.
A gentleman's vegetable garden.
Sorry, the lady is present.
It does look a bit like a dick, doesn't it?
Quite. It's on the modern map here and on the old one here, so that means the park must be here. You can tell a lot from looking at maps and air photos, but there's no substitute for seeing it for real from above.
We're working on an airfield. Maybe someone can take you up.
James, you can fly a plane. Why don't you do it?
Yes, okay. If we can find a plane to use.
Good. And I'd like to go and see that church. It sounds very interesting.
Dunsfold Airfield was set up halfway through World War II by the Canadians, but it was all very secret, hidden from the public gaze by thick woodland, though the sounds of Spitfires taxiing and whole squadrons coming in to land might have been a bit of a clue to its existence. Even so, when a dance was held in the drill hall, it looks like nobody but the band was able to find it. But if the Flying Aces wanted a bit of female company, there was always the ground crew. You never knew who was going to turn up to bolt your broken crate back together again. Failing that, there were the land girls. A bit rough around the edges sometimes, but with a bit of gentle persuasion.
Now look, We've got some really interesting archaeology out there. Why didn't you show that instead of all these old photos and stuff?
Helen and I retreat to a safe distance and go to visit the church.
This is supposed to be a late Norman church, but I'm not so sure. These cornerstones look a lot older.
Look at these lines of stone set in the mortar.
That's really unusual. What's it for?
I don't know. I've not seen anything quite like it before. I think it's ironstone.
Oh, the door is really thick and heavy, so that must be old.
You know, it was really unusual for the Normans to build a cruciform church so small.
Cruciform? Isn't that something you use to melt iron in?
No, Tony, that's a crucible. Cruciform means cross-shaped. Look at these side axes.
Oh, I see. They're not very comfy, are they?
I don't think they're supposed to be comfortable. They're some of the oldest in the country. Come and look at this, Tony. It's fascinating.
Oh, wow. What is it?
It's a wall painting.
Well, even I can see that, but what's it of?
It looks a bit like a figure, but I can't make it out. Maybe we can get a camera up there and see if someone can enhance it for us. This is unusual. The ones closest to the church are normally for the most important people. But this one has no writing, just an armoured head.
What's wrong with that?
Several things. First, I'd expect at least a name, and usually a lengthy inscription. But there's no inscription on this one, and I don't think it's because it's worn off. It was never there. Second, this head is where I'd expect a skull to be on a really old gravestone. And third, there are no gravestones old enough for knights in armour.
Oh, these are different. I've never seen metal headstones before. They don't work very well though. Look, the names have completely rusted away.
Well, we're in the Weald, and there was a thriving iron industry here for centuries. It was probably the obvious thing to use. You know, I think that other one is iron too. It looks much older than these though.
This place does have some odd things, doesn't it? Look, there's a holy well too.
Yeah, I've seen that mentioned.
Can we go and see it?
Yeah, come on.
Oh, it looks straight out of a fairy tale. It must be really old.
The well might be old, but this certainly isn't. It looks 20th century to me.
This shrine was erected in 1933 by the members of the Dunsfold Amateur Dramatic Society. I thought it was supposed to be an old and sacred place.
It is. It was mentioned as far back as the 13th century. It says here, the Virgin Mary is said to have appeared to several people seeking relief at the well.
I wouldn't want to drink that water then.
I'm not sure that was the sort of relief they meant. The water is supposed to be good for curing eye diseases.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Oh, don't give up the day job.
That is my day job.
It's right on the bend of the river. And can you see how the church is on a bit of a rise? I think we need to talk to Stuart about this.
And in trench 2.
I'm getting a feature here. Not really sure what it is. I think it's a grave cut.
Still only modern finds though.
Yes. I think this is probably the oldest thing I found.
Not quite my area of expertise, but I had one of these when I was a kid.
I'll keep going and see what happens.
Good plan.
And in trench 1, Phil still hasn't calmed down.
Now remember, lots of zooming. Make the camera dance with anticipation. Keep the viewer's attention.
Will you get out of my trench?
But I'm the producer.
I don't care if you're Her Majesty herself. You're trampling all over my nice clean trench. Now get out.
Ready? Action.
So, how's it going here?
This is really quite exciting. You've got some bricks coming through. This might be our monastery.
Now hold on. We're not even sure if it's a wall yet.
I think it might be. At least some of them still have mortar between them. We've had a few finds too. This looks like it might have been a small hoard.
Look at this, Tony. It's fantastic. This must have been so valuable. Look, it's been broken. You know, I think this might have been a ritual deposit. We'll need to get some dating for it.
So, we found a few bricks, a silver hoard and a toy car. Let's see if we can better this tomorrow. It's the morning of day 2. Yesterday, all we found were a few bricks, a silver hoard and a toy car. So today, we're pulling out all the stops. We've brought in our old friend Chris with his team of students and all his intact geophys gear to get the park surveyed as quickly as we can. But first, they need to get set up.
There's no need to feel down, you can see what's lurking under the ground, you can find it, walking up and then down, there's no need to be unhappy, young man, you can wear out your shoes while you're walking, and admiring the views, bring back data, and I'm sure you will see many things from throughout history.
Shouldn't it be Chris's geofizz?
It just doesn't scan. Chris decides they could use a bit more help.
Hi guys, would you like to give us a hand with the geophizzing? We need all the help we can get.
Yeah, of course we will.
Yeah, we'd love to.
How can it be?
Don't say that.
Well, there are 3 methods: radar, magnetometry and resistivity. Now, who wants to do which?
Well, with my back, I better do the resistivity.
Good. Now, the magnetometry will take a bit of setting up.
That'll be for James then.
Oh, good. Lots of pre-flight checks.
So that leaves me with the radar.
Now, let's get you all set up and you can survey these grid squares for me.
I think this calls for a race, don't you?
Find a quiet spot, then identify north.
Was this set up right the last time it was used, eh?
Why right?
Good. So, grid size, okay. Urban. Urban? Is that the fastest?
No, that's the slowest.
Oh, we don't want that then. Semi-urban? Rural? That sounds better. No idea what that means. Okay, grid 1, right, we're off.
So, on. That seems to be it.
Face north again. Then invert gradiometer.
Shut up! Can't you work any quicker, you useless piece of scrap metal?
Ensure you have no metal objects about your person. Belt buckles, watches, coins, keys, etc. Oh, cock. Face north again.
Oh, I'm liking this.
Stop beeping! It's not my fault you're so slow. Just work!
Speed. 6.3 seconds, that's 1.6 meters per second. Sensors 2, check. First reverse, east, check. Grid 1, check. Traverse 1, check. Right, go.
Oh, so you've decided to join us then, James. I think you'll find you're way behind.
But my results will be correct.
If we ever get them, that is. Mate, how you doing? No, not really inconvenient. Well, it is, but no, go on.
Right, traverse 7.
I think we're beginning to understand each other now. And beep and lift, and beep and lift.
I'm right in the middle of... Okay, mate. I've really got to go now. Alright, see you there, mate. Bye.
You pulled my lead out. It's not working anymore.
Oh, have you broken down? Now let's see, what do we do when someone breaks down? Help them? Oh no, I remember, we leave them behind. See ya.
This, I feel, is a gentleman's surveying tool. One simply strides across the grids at a constant pace. No need to run. No need to scream at anything.
Stop beeping at me. Log null. What does this do? It shuts it up. That means I can go faster. Beep log null, beep log null.
The problem with radar is you have to go twice as fast as you do with the resistivity and 4 times as far as magnetometry, and that means that despite all the pre-flight checks, James is closing in on me. But I can fix that with some running.
You know, I think it's a waste of time having to do all this 3 times.
It's the best way to get an in-depth analysis.
You're probably right, mate, but what can we do about it?
I have a cunning plan.
Oh no!
And in the relative sanity of the incident room...
I'm fascinated by this church. It's on a bit of a rise, just by a bend in the river, which is exactly where I'd expect to find a Saxon settlement. Greenwich, Chiswick, Hamwich, all started out on the outside of a river bend. And I suspect the church is older than people think it is. There are a few other anomalies too.
You say the church is on a rise. I'd like to see that for myself.
There's a sort of theme of figures and armour. Some of them don't make much sense. There's one on a headstone very near the church. What else do we know about the area?
There was a lot of medieval ironworking in the Weald. There's a bridge here, called Furnace Bridge, and also Burningford Manor. But we don't have much else to go on in the records.
There's a Burntwood Copse too, not far away.
Maybe that's where things didn't go well.
Can I have my jewellery back? I buried it to keep it safe and now you've gone and broken it.
No idea of sartorial splendour at all, have
It
you?
looks like graph paper, Phil.
I like this shirt. It's handy. There never is enough graph paper around when you need it. I mean, look, 1 to 20, you're doing...
Meanwhile, the Wot Gear team have found a gee whiz.
You know where they're digging, don't you?
No, surely not. How come? It's dowsing. Why? What's there?
Nothing at all.
So, nothing to worry about then? No, nothing at all.
Now what are they up to?
Watch what you're doing with that.
Jeremy, put that hammer down now.
I'm on fire! Now I'm wet.
Trench 2 is really starting to come along now.
It's like no other burial I've ever seen. Whatever it is, I don't think it's human, but it's certainly been treated as though it is.
The preservation is remarkable. I don't think it's very old at all.
And not terribly deep either.
I'm getting a little bit uncomfortable with him watching like that, though.
It is a bit unnerving, isn't it?
And in Trench 1, there's a very strange phenomenon.
There we are. We can level out now and circle round so you can see out of the window.
Ah, that's good. Much better. Look, there's the park and you can see that bit of river. You know, I don't think that's natural. It's too straight. Can we circle back round over the park again? Maybe follow the river along a bit?
Of course.
Perfect. What's that showing through the trees there?
I think that's some of the old airfield buildings. No idea what they are, though. They're just empty shells now.
You know, I think that trench relates to them, not any monastery. If there was one here, why would they put it there, so far from the church?
Well, here we are, in line with the river now.
Yeah, there's that field you spotted on the map. It really does look like one, doesn't it?
I think you'll find it was Jeremy that spotted it.
What's that on the hillside over there?
Never noticed that before.
See how it's surrounded by trees? I think that's been positioned so you can't really see it from the ground. Most white horses are on chalk and you can see them for miles.
Okay, we're turning now to go back to the village.
Yeah, that's an absolutely typical medieval layout. But where's that church?
Up there.
Ah, I've got it. It really is right on the bend of the river. I think that hill might be man-made. I need to have a closer look.
Not sure I can get much closer than this.
Oh, don't worry, I'll walk.
I'll lend you a bicycle if you like.
Oh, even better.
Now then, these two walls run parallel and at right angles to that one. So I reckon they're all related somehow.
Look, Tony, this is really fantastic. And they're in exactly the same alignment as the rectory next to the church.
But the church is miles away.
1.73 miles as the crow flies, to be precise.
Yeah, and what if it is on the same alignment? It ain't the same as the church anyhow. That's due east-west.
Ah, but the rectory would have related to the outbuildings of the church. What's more, if you take a line from the Holy Well through the pub and keep going, you're exactly here where this anomaly is.
So what you're saying is that the walls we found in Trench 1 point the same way as the walls of the rectory, almost 2 miles away, and that they're in line with the pub and the Holy Well.
Exactly. They're all in direct alignment. Now, doesn't that tell us something?
Time for a point, perhaps?
It's not even lunchtime yet.
I think you'll find it is. Come back after the break to see what we think we found.
But you're not to go off to the pub yet.
Spoiled sport.
Well, we're halfway through the dig here at Dunsfold Park, and yesterday we thought we'd found a monastery. Now we're not so sure. What went wrong?
I don't recall ever seeing a medieval monastery built with bricks like that. They look far too modern.
Well, these look the same bricks as the derelict World War II buildings over there by the trees. I suspect that's what these buildings were too.
That makes an awful lot more sense.
Well, I suppose that's why they've got bullet holes in them.
Well, there was no guarantee we'd find a monastery, but you never know until you look. There might have been.
While Phil and Raxel record Trench 1, I go to see what's happening in Trench 2. So, what is it?
We really don't know. We thought it was human at first, but the bones are all wrong.
Don't understand. It looks human to me.
At first glance, yes. But look at the joints. It isn't supposed to do that. And there are all these grave goods too.
I think it's something to do with him. That, whatever it is, looks very similar.
So now what?
Now, we record it very carefully and leave it right where it is. I suspect this is a ritual burial, and we don't want another sea henge on our hands.
We have the results from the grids that the Wot Gear guys surveyed for us. They're interesting to say the least.
Let's see.
Something must have gone wrong with the resistivity towards the end. And there's nothing showing at all. No readings, no nothing, but the mag and the radar are good. Now, on all three, there's a massive signal just here. It's a huge response, so I think that'll need investigating.
Well, that's so obvious, even I can see it. Francis, what do you think?
2, 3, 4.
Anomaly.
In the geophysics.
Anomaly.
That's where we'll dig.
Anomaly.
Is it a Volvo, a furnace, a duck pond, a villa, or another dead stick?
Anomaly.
I've had enough. This is getting silly.
Phil, you've ruined it. You're supposed to be singing.
I came here to dig, not prance around. Why can't we just get back to what we're good at doing instead of all this mucking about?
But it's more interesting this way.
What would you know about that? You're not even the real Tim Taylor.
Yes, I am.
You're not, are you? You're Tim Brooke Taylor. The new production company got it wrong, didn't they?
I needed the word. I'm a teapot. I'm a teapot. I'm a teapot. I'm a teapot.
Well, that explains a thing or two.
Can we just get on with some digging now?
So, we have no monastery. Still, the World War II buildings are interesting. We have a recent ritual burial, and Trench 3 going in over that huge anomaly. So, who knows what else we might find?
What's that you've got there?
It's round, but apart from that, I don't know.
It was a World War II airfield, wasn't it? I have a nasty feeling I know what it is. I'll call Phil over.
Salisbury 6932.
Hi Phil, it's Matt. I think you better come over. There's something round here. It looks like a bomb to me.
Hello, Matt. Thank you for letting me know. I shall be over directly. Goodbye. Oh, I suppose I'd better tell Francis. Hello, may I speak with Francis Previous, please?
Hi, Phil. This is me speaking.
I'm phoning to inform you that Matt thinks he's found a round bomb. I thought you ought to know.
A round one? You're dead right, ought to know. Thank you for telling me.
My pleasure. Goodbye.
They found a round berm. And you know what that means, don't you?
No, what?
Have you not learnt anything yet? You can only mean the ditch round a roundhouse.
Oh, a berm. The ditch where the roof drips. Yeah, of course I know what that is.
I shall go and have a look. They often have ritual deposits by the doorways, you know. There might be some very interesting finds. So come on then, let's see it.
It's here. I don't really want to touch it. I don't know how stable it is.
We're on clay here, so it really shouldn't be a problem. I wouldn't worry about it.
Now, I know clay's nasty, solid stuff, but I'm not sure it's that robust.
Don't be silly, you're just biased. Now, where is it? I can't see anything that looks right.
It's there, right in front of you.
That's not a berm.
I never said it was. It's a bomb.
Yes, a berm.
No, a bomb.
Right!
Up at the church, Stuart is oblivious to all this drama.
Oh, when they said bicycle, I was expecting something with wheels, not casters. Stupid little wheels.
If you ask anyone to name a famous British fighter plane, the chances are the Spitfire will be pretty high on the list of candidates.
The Spitfire was designed in 1936 by R.J. Mitchell, 1895 to 1937, and then developed after Mitchell's death by Joseph Smith, 1897 to 1956. Many of them were powered by Rolls-Royce's iconic Merlin engine, and later by the Griffin engine. And in the absence of Squiffy, Biffy and Whiffy from the RAF, Matt has volunteered to be our Battle of Britain pilot.
Have I?
You have now.
Go on, hop in, tally-ho and all that.
Okay, what have I let myself in for this time?
Certain death.
Don't be such a wet blanket, Jeremy. You know as well as I do that a Spitfire pilot had a reasonable chance of completing up to 5 missions.
Then what? Do they send me home?
No, then you die.
What? I'm afraid so. A lot of Spitfire pilots completed fewer than 5 sorties before they gained their heavenly wings. Anyway, off you go.
But I don't know how to fly this thing.
Ah, yes, of course. You'll be far too busy keeping an eye out for Jerry and stopping the plane falling out of the sky to look at your instruments. Just concentrate on the bit you need to take off, stay steady, shoot at Germans, and land. Got it?
No.
Good. So that's nice and authentic then. Real Spitfire pilots only ever had a day or two's training before they reached for the skies.
But what if I make a mistake?
The plane crashes, and then you die.
You're going to be fine as long as you keep the power on smoothly when you take off, so you don't stall.
Like stalling a car. So what then? I take a deep breath, restart the engine, and try again?
Not quite. Usually you'll plough nose first into the runway.
And then you die.
Oh, good.
Anyway, let's look at the positives. Actually, the Spitfire was a pretty reliable warbird. Mechanical failures were rare, so it won't kill you by falling out of the sky for no good reason.
That's a relief. I was beginning to worry.
Failures due to things like wear and tear or fatigue hardly ever happen.
That's because you're usually shot down by the Hun in a raging fireball of carnage and destruction long before that could happen.
Let me guess.
Mind you, your wingman would warn you if he spotted the approaching Messerschmitts before you. Do you know what von Este means, yes?
It means we've been invaded?
No, it doesn't. Not in 1940, anyway. Don't you speak Polish?
Of course not. Anyway, didn't Spitfire pilots all sound like Boris Johnson?
Oh, no.
Only in war films. During the Battle of Britain, you'd have found Belgians, Americans, Irish and Czechs. But the biggest group was the Poles. So, it's always handy to remember the Polish for bandits at 12 o'clock. Mind you, it won't help if your wingman only speaks Walloon.
So, I'm undertrained. I might stall on takeoff.
Or crash on landing.
I might not speak the same language as the other pilots, and if the plane gets safely in the air, the lift raffle will probably shoot me down anyway.
Yes.
Great. You know, I don't think I want to do this after all. I'm going to tell my commanding officer where to stick his orders and then fly to the Caribbean.
Nah.
What?
Well, that would make you a mutineer. Do you know what happens to mutineers?
Let me guess. Do they send me to a lovely all-inclusive holiday to Benidorm?
No. They arrest you. And then they shoot you.
And then you die.
And while Chris carries on with surveying the park, Phil has been tidying up Trench 3 after the explosion.
Run that by me again.
Right, it's like you see. Over there. That's where the bomb was. See, it's all scorched like. And when you come down here, there's a bit of something a wee bit darker. Can you see?
Hang on. James, can you come here a minute?
What's the matter?
I cannot understand a word he's saying. Now, you are from the West Country. You can translate for me.
It's fine when we moved away from Bristol.
No matter. Again, please.
Right, that scorched bit. See? That's where the bomb was.
See the scorched bit? That's where the bomb was.
Coming down here is a bit of something a bit darker. Don't know what it is yet, though.
See the darker stuff there?
No.
Oi, get your orangutan out of my bloody trench.
Jeremy, get out of the trench.
God, he's worse than Tony.
Well, if he sees that he can't see as good as he was, then if he was, he hasn't.
I give up.
Oh, he's giving up.
Right? Oh, thank God for that. I don't know much about that. I'm outside of
Ow, that hit me.
Jeremy, you wazzock. You're supposed to aim for the dartboard.
That's not a bad point, that. I could do with another one.
Slow down, Phil, you'll bankrupt us. So, Francis, what's the plan?
Well, Trench 1 is closed down. Trench 2, we're recording very carefully. Trench 3 has been made safe after the explosion, so we hope to work in there again in the morning. Chris, how's the geophys going?
Well, we're almost there. Just a few more grid squares to go, and then some processing. I think the Wot Gear guys are working on something to help speed things up. That should be interesting.
Fantastic. Then we can see if there's anything worth investigating.
See you in the morning then. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's the morning of day 3 at our dig here in Dunsfold, and the Wot Gear team have been working on something to help speed up our geophys.
Give you the GeoWhiz.
Okay.
It's really good, let me tell you. It's got the resistivity here, it's got a magnetometer there, and at the back it's towing the radar, so you only need to go over the ground once.
They're all set up and ready to go. And this button here is wired to all the machines. So you only have to press the button once to start them off.
Right.
Shall we try it out?
Well, that's the next area to be surveyed, so off you go.
Right, traverse 1.
It's working, it's working. What's up? Why have you stopped?
You've fixed the front wheels in a straight line. You'll have to come and help me turn it round.
Did you do that?
Might have done.
You fool!
It only needs to go in a straight line, so I thought this was the most idiot-proof way.
Never mind whose fault it is, just come and give me a hand.
We've made something, and it works.
Not bad, is it?
We've finally done it.
Not only that, but we found a use for a GeoWhiz.
And in trench 3. So, how's it going here then? Any more bombs?
Don't tempt fate. No bombs yet, but we're uncovering something metallic, and it's quite corroded.
Look, Tony, this is fantastic. This could be evidence of medieval iron working. We know it was going on all through the world, but there's so little evidence around here. This could be really important. Any other finds?
Yes, these.
This is good.
I'd like Paul to see that. He is a medieval project expert, after all.
Here's the geophys results for the entire site.
Oh wow, so what does it all mean?
I think it means we have more work to do.
This is the section that was done by the GeoWhiz, and this feature here is interesting. It shows up best in the resistivity, and it's very rectilinear, so that absolutely has to be man-made.
And I think it looks rather like a Roman villa.
A villa? That sounds very important to me.
Well, yes, a good high-status villa would be very important indeed. I think we need to dig there. And what's this here?
Now that's really strong on all 3 surveys.
It's so close to the villa, if we put in a trench like this, we can extend it to both features if we have time.
Good. Right, where's Paul? So, in goes trench 4.
You know, it's a strange thing, but my eyes have been really aching with these glasses this morning. It's like I don't need them anymore.
You went up to the church yesterday, didn't you?
Yes, and very interesting it was too.
Did you go to the well?
Yes, I tried to get a sample of the water, but I ended up spilling it. I got most of it in my face.
You do know it has a reputation for curing eye disease, don't you?
No. Well, if that's the case, it seems to be working. I've worn glasses for decades. Now, about these armoured figures.
Having talked to some of the locals in the pub, I'm finding local folklore about the ghost of a white knight that's supposed to haunt the area around the church.
When does it date back to?
It's hard to say, but it goes back a very long way.
I wonder if that's why the church was built there in the first place. It's quite common for churches to be built in places that already had some ritual significance, so maybe it was to try and exorcise the ghost.
I think that church is older than that. If it's a knight, it could only really have been from medieval times onwards.
Maybe it was a Roman soldier.
I don't think they were very white.
I think that rise in the land where the church is built on could well have been a huge barrow. Perhaps it was a druid.
Okay, so we get the white, but not the knight. We've also managed to get an enhanced photo of the wall painting inside the church. It's the same head as on the gravestone.
Hello, have a look at what they found in Trench 3.
Oh, that's good.
I need to have a good look at that. Where's that?
That's up in the church. It's a wall painting.
That looks just like the remains they found in Trench 2.
But weren't they quite recent?
Yes, we think they are.
And there's a gravestone up by the church with the same head.
You know something? These photos I took from the plane yesterday, I must have been looking at it from the wrong side. Turn it the other way, and what do you see?
So it is.
And it's facing towards the church.
Those pieces of ironstone in the mortar, wasn't iron supposed to ward off evil or something?
Yes, ghosts, witches, anything like that.
And the gravestone with the head on was one of the iron ones.
I think there's a picture building here.
Despite Phil's best efforts, Trench 4 isn't looking very promising.
How are you getting on?
So far we found nothing, not a sausage.
Are you sure this trench is in the right place?
Yes, it's definitely here. We've checked and we've double checked.
Surely you must have found something.
Yes, we have. Wall to wall, bugger all, that's what we found.
Well, then you can't be deep enough yet.
Well, it's quite possible. We've only had this trench open an hour.
They started making steins in Germany in medieval times. The lid was to keep the flies out and stop the plague spreading.
So is it medieval?
No, they didn't make them blue glaze black then. Now Delftware had a blue glaze and started coming in the 16th century.
Delft? That's in Holland, isn't it? And there was a Dutch squadron here at the end of the war. Is it Delftware?
No. This style of 3D decoration came in during the middle of the 19th century.
So it's Victorian?
No, but these lids went out of fashion by the First World War.
It must be Edwardian then?
No, there are a few clues here. The aeroplane for one.
Oh, it's World War II, contemporary with the airfield. That's brilliant.
No, the biggest clue is on the base. Avon, handcrafted in Brazil, 1981.
Oh, meanwhile, Trench 3 has turned up another find.
Ooh, now that's interesting. What do you think it is?
We just can't tell, but there's loads of rust staining, so it's probably iron.
I think it's just about ready to lift now.
Were those potsherds in the same context?
Yes, and they may well be medieval.
Paul, come over here.
What is it?
Francis wants to know if these are medieval.
Yes, I think they are. Very late medieval though. 16th century, I think.
That's fantastic. That should date this metal thing quite accurately then. Let's get that to Helen.
Right. Yeah. On your marks, get set, go!
Stuart thinks he's found out what the problem is with Trench 4.
How much deeper am I going to have to go to find this here villa then?
I'm surprised you've not found it yet. It was the resistivity that picked it up, and that doesn't go nearly as deep as the radar.
I'm sorry to have to say this, but it's starting to look very much like natural here.
Well, there might be a reason for that.
Or, what's that then?
This is Ron. We got talking in the pub last night. He was stationed here during his national service.
How do?
Hello, yes, I was stationed here and my billet was just right over there.
So that's what those buildings were. They were the barracks.
So, how does it help with this here trench?
Quite often, once we'd done all our duties for the day, we'd go and have a game of tennis.
That's nice.
This is where the courts were, just right here.
Is there anything you'd like to tell me, Chris?
Not really, but now you come to mention it, and that would account for it hardly showing on the mag and radar. But there's still this feature, and that's just over there.
Right. Well, I think we might need to start extending this trench if we're going to find anything.
And back in the incident room.
There. I think we've got it as clean as we can without proper equipment. It's definitely ferrous, and we know there was iron working here in medieval times, but it's far more advanced than anything medieval I've ever seen.
It looks very old to me.
That's because it's so rusty. It's been cast, and then I think this surface has been polished. If I can get it under a microscope, then we can see the structure, and that will help us date it.
So, this lump of rusty metal might be evidence that medieval ironworking was much more advanced than we thought. This could be really important.
Oh, you got a conrod. Where'd you find that?
In trench 3. What's a conrod?
It's part of an engine.
So there you go. Part of a medieval engine.
That's from a Merlin engine. Probably off a Spitfire. Now that's a very interesting engine, designed by Rolls-Royce in the early 1930s and first run in October 1933. They're mostly associated with the Spitfire, although more were built for Lancaster bombers. But that's because they have 4 engines and the Spitfire has only 1.
So, what have we found? Our silver hoard turned out to belong to a small girl who had buried it for safekeeping. Our prehistoric roundhouse turned into a bomb and blew up. The medieval iron came from a Spitfire engine, and the Stein is only 30 years old. The Roman villa turned out to be tennis courts, and the medieval monastery was actually a World War II barracks. The grave we uncovered in Trench 2 is not just a burial, it might even be a new species. It has 2 arms and 2 legs, just like us, but the bone structure is wrong. Yet it was given a very human burial, with grave goods that might just give us an insight into the life of this mystery creature. And it looks like it's a species that's been around here for quite some time. There are representations of the White Knight on a hillside, in the church, and on a gravestone in the churchyard. Some say he's the Stig, but he's not the Stig. He's the Stig's deceased cousin. Oh, and we now have a geo-whiz thanks to the guys from Wot Gear. So there we are. We were hoping to have found some evidence of medieval ironworking, but that just wasn't to be.
Hang on a moment, I think I found something here.
Tony, this is fantastic. What is it, Phil?
It says anomaly on the geophysics.
But what is it?
Don't know yet. Come in and give me an hand.
You mean we can get into your trench?
On this occasion, yes.
This is burnt.
It dips down in the middle.
It looks like a furnace to me.
I think you're right.
And that river nearby, but Stuart thinks it's not on its natural course. It could be a mill race. This could well be a very early blast furnace.
Amazing. Now that would be important.
Talk about 11th hour. This is possibly the most important discovery we could have hoped for, and I don't think we've ever had one this late in the dig. If we can get this schedule, it could save Dunsfold Park from the developers for good. Keep digging.
Nothing to see here? Nothing at all?
Nothing at all.
Here, can someone get me out of my bloody trench?